Let me tell you something that might sound a little crazy. Most people go their entire lives believing that wealth is something you stumble into. You know what I mean. They think it's that one lucky stock tip, that unexpected inheritance, that business idea that blows up overnight. But here is the truth that no one really talks about. Wealth does not arrive with fireworks. It never has. Wealth grows in the dark, quietly, boringly, one tiny decision at a time. And that is exactly what we are going to break down today on the Dollar Digest. But before we go any further, if you are serious about fixing your money habits in 2026, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel, because what I am about to share with you will completely change the way you think about every single dollar you earn. And trust me, you do not want to miss the next part. Now, let me ask you a very honest question. When was the last time you almost bought something, stopped yourself, and then woke up the next day completely glad you did not buy it? If you are like most people, that feeling happens more often than you admit. And that tiny gap between wanting something and actually buying it, that gap is where rich people live. That gap is where financial freedom starts. And the single most powerful habit you can steal from wealthy people today is something almost too simple to believe. Wait 24 hours before any impulse buy over $50. Just 24 hours, not a week, not a month. One single day. Let me explain why this works so well. When you see something you want, your brain floods with excitement. It feels urgent. It feels like you might miss out if you do not click buy right now. But here is the secret. That urgency is almost always fake. The product will still be there tomorrow. The sale will come back next week. And most importantly, the version of you who wakes up tomorrow morning is much calmer and much smarter than the version of you right now. So all you have to do is wait. Put that item in your cart and close the tab. Walk away from the store and go home. Tell yourself out loud, I will decide tomorrow, and what you will find is that more than half the time, you completely forget about it. Or worse, you realize you did not need it at all. Now think about what that does over time. If you make just one impulse purchase a week for $50, that is over $2,600 a year, and that is just $50. But if you cut that in half by waiting one day, you just saved over $1,300 without changing your lifestyle. You did not earn more. You did not work harder. You just paused. And that is the foundation of everything else we are going to talk about today. Because wealth is not built by big heroic moments. It is built by small pauses, small questions, small choices that feel almost meaningless in the moment but compound into something massive over years. So let me walk you through another habit that fits right alongside waiting 24 hours. Check your bank balance every single day. I know what you are thinking. That sounds obsessive, but hear me out. Most people avoid looking at their money because it makes them anxious. They wait until the end of the month and then feel shocked when they see where everything went. But wealthy people do the opposite. They look every morning, not to judge themselves, just to stay aware. When you check your balance daily, you build a relationship with your money. You notice small leaks before they become floods. You see that $5 subscription you forgot about. You realize you spent more on coffee than you thought. And that awareness alone changes your behavior without any willpower. You do not have to force yourself to spend less. You just naturally spend less because you are paying attention. And that brings me to the next habit, which is very closely related. Track every single expense. Not the big ones only. Everything. That pack of gum, that parking meter, that quick sandwich you bought because you were too tired to cook. When you track every expense, you stop lying to yourself about where your money goes. And please do not overcomplicate this. You do not need a fancy app or a color-coded spreadsheet. Just open your Notes app or keep a small notebook in your pocket. Every time you spend money, write it down. At the end of the week, look back. You will be surprised what you find. Most people discover they are spending 20, sometimes 30% of their income on things they do not even remember buying. And once you see that, you cannot unsee it. That is when real change happens. Now, here is a habit that feels strange but works incredibly well. Use cash for small daily purchases. I am not saying you need to go back to envelopes and paper money for everything, but for things like coffee, snacks, lunch, transportation, try using physical cash for 1 week. Why does this work? Because cash hurts. When you hand over a bill, you feel the loss. When you tap your card or phone, you feel nothing. And that tiny difference in feeling adds up to hundreds of dollars every month. So take out a set amount of cash at the beginning of the week, let us say $50 or $60, and that is all you get for small daily stuff. When the cash runs out, you stop spending. Simple, painful, effective. And while we are talking about pain, let me share something that might make you uncomfortable. You need to unsubscribe from every influencer who makes you want to spend money. I am serious. Go through your social media feeds right now and ask yourself one question. Does this person make me feel like I need more things? If the answer is yes, unfollow them. Unfollow them today. Unfollow them without guilt. Because those carefully curated images of perfect lives and perfect products are not inspiration. They are advertisements. And every time you scroll past them, you feel a little more dissatisfied with your own life. That dissatisfaction is what leads to impulse buying, so protect your mind like you protect your wallet. Curate your feed to include people who teach you, challenge you, or make you laugh. But never people who make you feel poor. Now, let us talk about learning, because no money habit works long-term if your skills stay the same. You have to learn new money skills on a regular basis. And this does not mean going back to school or spending thousands on courses. It means dedicating 15 minutes a day to understanding something new about personal finance. One day, you learn how credit card interest actually works. The next day, you learn what an index fund is. The next day, you learn how taxes affect your investments. 15 minutes. That is it. Over a year, that is over 90 hours of financial education. And I promise you, 90 hours of focused learning will put you ahead of 95% of people, because most people never learn anything about money after high school. They just guess, they hope, they copy what their friends do, but you will be different, you will be informed, and information is the foundation of good decisions. Now, let me give you a habit that sounds almost too small to matter. Round up every purchase and save the change. There are apps that do this automatically, but you can also do it manually. Every time you buy something, round up to the nearest dollar and move that change into a savings account. A $3 coffee becomes $4 saved. A $12 lunch becomes $13 saved. It does not feel like much in the moment, but over months, those small roundups become hundreds of dollars. Over years, they become thousands. And the best part is you never feel the pain of saving because you are only saving what you would have spent anyway. It is like tricking your brain into building wealth without trying. And while we are on the topic of automation, here is a habit that wealthy people swear by. Automate $5 a day into an investment account, not a savings account. An investment account, because savings accounts barely keep up with inflation, but investments grow. $5 a day is only $150 a month. That is less than what most people spend on delivery apps and streaming services. But if you invest that $5 every day into something simple like a low-cost index fund, and you do that for 20 years, you are looking at well over $100,000. That is not magic. That is just time and consistency. So set it up once and let the machine run while you sleep. That is how busy people build wealth without thinking about it every single day. Now, let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you looked at your subscriptions? Really looked. Not just glanced at your bank statement. I am talking about scrolling through every single recurring charge on your credit card. Most people are paying for at least 3 or 4 subscriptions they never use. A gym membership they have not visited in 6 months. A streaming service they forgot they signed up for. A productivity app that looked useful but never got opened. Here is your habit. Every Sunday, take 5 minutes and review your subscriptions. Cancel one, just one. And then next Sunday, cancel another one. After 1 month, you will have canceled 4 subscriptions. That could easily save you $40 to $60 a month. That is almost $700 a year for doing almost nothing, and that money can go straight into your investment account. Now let us talk about a habit that feels old school but works like crazy. Sell one unused item every week. Walk around your home right now and look at the things you do not use. That jacket hanging in the closet with the tags still on. That old phone sitting in a drawer. That kitchen gadget you used once. Take a photo, list it online, and sell it. One item per week. Even if you only make $10 or $20, that is money you did not have yesterday. But more importantly, this habit changes your relationship with stuff. You start to see your things as assets instead of clutter. You become more careful about what you bring into your home because you know how hard it is to sell things later. And over a year, you might make an extra $1,000 just from cleaning out your closets. That is not nothing. That is a flight ticket or a car payment or a nice addition to your emergency fund. And speaking of emergency funds, here is a habit that will save your sanity. Save half of any unexpected money that comes your way. Tax refund, birthday gift, bonus at work, cash from a side job. Take half and save it immediately. The other half you can spend or enjoy guilt-free. This is not about being miserable. This is about balance. Because if you save all of it, you might feel deprived and give up completely. But if you spend all of it, you never build momentum. Half is the sweet spot. Half lets you enjoy the present while still preparing for the future. And over time, those halves add up to a very solid safety net. Now let me share a habit that sounds boring but might be the most important one on this entire list. Compare prices before buying anything over $30. I am not saying you need to spend 3 hours searching for coupons. I am saying take 60 seconds and check 2 other websites or stores before you buy. That is it, 60 seconds. Most of the time, you will find the same product for less money somewhere else. And if you do this consistently, you will save anywhere from 10 to 50% on almost everything you buy. That is real money. And it takes almost no effort. The only reason people do not do this is because they are lazy or they feel awkward. But wealthy people are not lazy about their money. They are respectful of it. They know that every dollar saved is a dollar that can work for them instead of for someone else. And while we are talking about being intentional, let me give you a habit that will change the way you think about weekends. Set one no-spend weekend every month. That means from Friday evening to Monday morning, you do not spend any money. No eating out, no online shopping, no trips to the mall. You cook at home, you go for a walk, you watch movies you already own. You read a book, you call a friend. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. But after a couple of months, you will start to enjoy it. You realize that most of your weekend spending was not making you happier. It was just filling time. And by removing that spending, you also remove the stress that comes with it. Plus, at the end of the year, you have 12 no-spend weekends. That could easily save you $300 to $500, maybe more. Now, here is a habit that most people skip because it feels like homework. Write down 3 money goals every single morning. Not big, scary goals like become a millionaire. Small, specific goals. Today, I will not buy coffee. Today, I will transfer $10 to savings. Today, I will learn one thing about investing. When you write down your goals every morning, you prime your brain to look for opportunities to achieve them. You start the day with intention instead of reaction. And over time, those small daily goals build into weekly habits, and those weekly habits build into monthly progress, and that progress turns into real financial change. Keep a small notebook by your bed. Right when you wake up, write down 3 money goals for the day. It takes less than 1 minute, but it changes everything. And let me add one more habit that works beautifully alongside that. Listen to one finance podcast every week. You do not need to become a finance nerd. You just need to keep your mind in the game. Pick a 15 or 20-minute episode while you drive to work or while you wash dishes or while you walk the dog. Just keep learning. Keep hearing stories about how regular people improved their money situation. Because motivation fades, but exposure keeps you going. When you hear the same ideas again and again, they start to stick. They start to feel normal, and eventually, they become part of who you are. That is when you stop needing willpower. That is when good money habits become automatic. Now let me talk about something that might upset you. Pay your credit cards in full every single month. No exceptions. I know life gets hard. I know unexpected things happen. But carrying a balance on a credit card is one of the fastest ways to stay poor. Credit card interest rates are often 20% or higher. That means if you carry a balance of $1,000, you are paying $200 a year just for the privilege of being in debt. That is insane. So here is your new rule. Never buy anything on a credit card unless you already have the cash to pay for it. Use the card for convenience and rewards, but pay it off before the due date every single time. If you cannot do that, then cut up the card and use a debit card until you get your spending under control. There is no middle ground here. Credit card debt is a trap, and the only way out is to stop stepping into it. And before we wrap up, let me give you one final habit. Celebrate your small wins. This might sound soft, but it is actually very strategic. Most people quit improving their finances because they feel like nothing is changing. They save for 3 months and look at their account and feel disappointed. But that is because they are comparing themselves to some unrealistic dream instead of celebrating the progress they actually made. So when you wait 24 hours and do not buy that impulse item, celebrate. When you sell an old jacket for $20, celebrate. When you cancel a subscription you never use, celebrate. Clap for yourself. Tell someone else. Write it down. Because those small celebrations release dopamine, and dopamine makes you want to repeat the behavior. That is how you build habits that last, not through punishment and shame, through small, genuine celebrations that keep you going. So here is where you come in. You have heard 20 powerful habits that can change your financial life in 2026. But knowing and doing are two completely different things. So I want you to do something right now. Comment the word compounding if you are ready to commit. Just one word. Compounding. Because that is what this is all about. Small actions compounding over time into something massive. And while you are down there, share this video with one person who needs to hear it. Send it to a friend who keeps complaining about being broke. Send it to your brother who just bought something he did not need. Send it to anyone who still believes that wealth requires a lucky break. Because the truth is, wealth does not need luck. It just needs patience. It just needs awareness. And it just needs you to start today. Thank you for watching the Dollar Digest. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, you are exactly the kind of person who is ready to build something real. So take a deep breath. Pick one habit from today. Just one. And start right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. I will see you in the next video.